true, too. But we got to get to our guests. And I want to, because our guest from the Center for American Progress is I actually agreed with a couple of things, which I couldn't believe. Anyway, Joel Griffith is from the Heritage Foundation, research fellow. Andy Green is managing director of economic policy with the Center for American Progress. And that's about as good as it gets from here, probably, Andy. But I do understand that once people have accrued a lot of wealth, it's hard to get at it. It's hard to get at the capital gains. And if you wait till you die, it's never really touched. So I understand maybe that's a place to look to generate some income. Have I got that right to some extent, Andy?
Well, I think you do need to generate income from where it is, and the wealth has been accruing to those at the very top. Meanwhile, those at the middle and the bottom have not seen the types of investments that they need to do well. I mean, look, after World War II, we invested in housing, we invested in college, we invested in middle-class opportunities. Between 2000 and, frankly, a lot that the Obama administration tried to do to turn it around, we saw massive disinvestments. And with the financial crisis knocking the real wealth of the average middle-class family by 49%, which they've only just barely recovered, we've got to do a lot to make sure that workers have a chance to do well.
My point was, Andy, though, people that do benefit, some of the wealthy, that paid taxes on the income and then have been benefiting from capital gains, and if they sell it, they do. Do you want a wealth tax to double tax so they'd pay taxes again even if they didn't take capital gains? Do you think that's the way we need to go, where it would essentially be taxed again?
Oliver Wendell Holmes said the taxes are what you pay for a civilized society, and I think looking at all the division and the conflict and the challenges that America faces,
then it's okay to do that? I don't know.
I don't think it's a form of double taxation. I think it's a form of a fair taxation where we've had capital gains taxed way below what it ought to be, and we've had all these loopholes where, you know, from the Romney IRA to other means, the wealthy are able to keep the income away.
I got it. All right, but Joel, let me ask you. Your point is that everybody's living better now, and there's no doubt in my mind that I mean I know it sounds like let them eat cake, and that's not what I'm saying, but the quality of life. The idea that a lifting tide doesn't lift all boats, it does to some extent. We've made some, when you grow the pie, it might be frustrating to wait for it to get redistributed, but sometimes that works better than letting the government just redistribute it because they don't know what to do with it once they get it.
Yes, I think Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher said it best in 1990. Folks like Andy that are focused on the income gap, they would much rather the poor be poorer, provided the rich were less rich. But that is no way to create wealth and prosperity, end quote. And that's the point. If you look over the past 100 years in the most extreme circumstances with absolute wealth confiscation, we know it failed across Eastern Europe. We know it failed in the Soviet Union. We know it's failing in Venezuela. But it's also failing where it's been implemented to a far less extent across Europe. You know, across the OECD, the United States, yes, we have the biggest inequality in income. We also have the highest average disposable household income. You look at us versus Germany, $45,000 per family here. Germany, $34,000. And that's because our individuals, our businesses are better incentivized to grow and invest. And that's what leads to the productivity that results in our middle class being better off than the middle class elsewhere across the world.